I think art is being able to take things that aren't real and being able to put it on a paper, being able to look at it and be like, you normally wouldn't see that just sitting on a desk, you know?
Hey guys, you're listening to AndreasTalksArt with your host, Andreas Kramer.
It's the wild, wild west out here. I'm trying to hunt down all the artists on their creative pursuit. Art is this expression of human imagination that drives the process of introspection and contemplation, that creates a limitless potential of creativity. And in the end, it's not about the art, it's about the mind and the soul that turn their imagination into a reality. So what does it mean to be an artist? And more importantly, what does art mean to you?
Yo, what is up, guys? We are back with another episode of Andreas Talks Art. Oh, yeah, and today, we have a special guest on. He's a fine artist, another fellow member of the Denver Art Society, and he works in a variety of mediums, including graphite, acrylic painting, and he even does sculpture. As well as fine art, he also is a YouTuber and turns all his creations into videos. So if you want to see some of the crazy art challenges he's done, like drawing for 10 hours straight, you can check him out on YouTube at Mike Create. You can also find his work on Instagram at Mike.Steen.90. So let's sit down and talk smart with none other than Mike Steen.
Do you remember when you first got into art?
I think it when I was like really young, you know, probably around the age of 5. Still have my old sketchbook actually.
From when you were 5?
From when I was 5, like my first ever sketchbook, and it was like a newspaper, like sketchbook or whatever.
Yeah.
And I filled that entire thing up, and I still have that sketchbook with me. It's back at my place right now, but I think what got me into art was because I could just draw and be free for a certain amount of time when I'm working on a piece.
Yeah.
It's just like a whole different like universe, and you can just create your own characters and express your own feelings and connect with other people through that, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a total like escape from all this.
Yeah.
What were you like drawing in that sketchbook when you were 5?
I really don't know, honestly. It was such a long time ago. But
Yeah.
like most of the time I would just see that I would draw simple things like a car or a house, maybe like a dog or something. I think it was just a fun way to get my mind off of other things and just be able to draw.
That's cool. Do you ever like gain any inspiration from those old drawings?
I went looking back in, and I think on one of my upcoming YouTube videos, I'm gonna like recreate one of the drawings.
That'd be cool.
That, just to show like where I used to be to where I'm from now.
Yeah.
I do occasionally go back because sometimes I run out of ideas to like work with, so it's like let me go all the way back to see if I can find anything that can inspire me, and sometimes I find some things that inspire me to like make some different arts and stuff.
Okay.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that's like kind of like interesting and weird to look back on.
Mm-hmm. It's like really weird, but I think it's really cool that I was able to keep that sketchbook, you know, that long, and be able to still be able to go back and look at like, yo, this is my first sketchbook.
Yeah, totally.
Get inspiration from that. Really cool.
It'll be awesome to look back on like even further down the line too, you know, as you keep growing and progressing.
Right.
Have you been drawing and into art ever since you were 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've pretty much been drawing. I haven't been consistent from like 5 to up to now, but I think about 2 years ago I started really being consistent, drawing every day. Started to take art a little bit more seriously and interpreting like more things into my art, more meaning into my art. And I just started taking it serious a couple of years ago, but I always just loved to do it just for fun, honestly.
Yeah. So like before 2 years, it was more just this escape that was fun.
Yeah, it was more so of that, but now whenever I get on a piece of paper, it's like I want to do something that I enjoy, but I also want to do something that can connect to other people.
Yeah. What caused that shift?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was honestly COVID, like around that COVID time, whenever that started to happen. I originally was supposed to go to college for like track and field and stuff, but because of that, you know, kind of lost all my scholarships due to COVID and stuff and all the trap meets and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll fall back on art. So once I started doing that, I was like, okay, I need to start making pieces that can better connect to other people. So that's kind of when I kind of started taking it a little bit more serious. And whenever I sold my first piece, I was like, wow, I can make money doing this. So it's like, that's really what made me like get a little bit more serious. It's like I can really get this and take it far.
Were you trying to sell that first piece, or how'd that happen?
I wasn't trying to sell the first piece, actually. It just ended up being sold. Like, I was drawing, and then I just had it up in the gallery, and someone was like, yo, that's a really nice piece. Let me buy that. You know, I was like, oh. I'm like, sure.
This was in the Denver Art Society?
This was actually in one of the galleries back at home in Florida.
Okay.
Before I moved up to here. That's whenever that happened, and then once I came up here, it just kind of started to flow in. I was starting to sell pieces within like a week or so.
Yeah.
And then I'll put more in, raise the prices, sell it within a month. It was like, wow, people actually like this, you know? I should keep it going.
Yeah.
Take it a little bit more serious, you know?
For sure. What why'd you have pieces up in the gallery in the first place?
I just had it up because I wanted to get like exposure, you know?
Yeah.
I never really thought of like, before I put the pieces up inside of the gallery as like selling it. I was more so like, I want to draw this and hold on to it for as long as possible and not give it away. But then eventually, like after I sold that first piece, I was like, wow, in the end I can make this piece again, you know, that I just sold, and I could probably make it even better than the one that I sold it for. So I just had it in the gallery. I just wanted to get exposure as like an artist, more so than it's like making money from it.
For sure. So that like feeling of wanting to keep on your pieces, did that like completely go away, or?
Eventually.
Eventually,
I
yeah.
mean, it hasn't completely went away yet, but now I can like, I'm a little bit more humble when it comes to it, because it's like I can take a picture of it, and that picture is going to be with me forever, and it's like I can always go back and revisit the idea. I'm getting ready to start on a new series where I take all my old drawings that I sold, and I'm going to recreate them into like actual paintings instead of pencil drawings. So that's going to be pretty interesting to do. So it's like I get to go back to my old pieces, like add more things, make it look a lot better, and do it in a different medium.
Right, bringing color to it too.
Yeah, I'm thinking about bringing a little bit of color, like in this piece right here. Like the entire thing isn't color, but I just wanted to add in like little hints of color, and I'm kind of experimenting with that.
Okay.
But I don't know how I want to do it yet. But I hope I eventually just do the whole thing. I tried doing the whole thing in color once, but I think because of my style, it just doesn't look a little right. Just think black and white.
Yeah.
Or so like surrealism just doesn't make it look as fake. It gives it that realistic look, and it's like, this could be real, but you know it can't be real.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Because it's black and white.
Right.
Right.
It's just more so like an imagination thing.
Yeah. So have you always been doing black and white like sketches? Is this, what are you using, like pencil or what?
Yeah, I've pretty much been with graphite for my entire life.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of stages where I did like colored pencil, but I never really painted much. I never really did watercolor much. Just recently, once I started college, I started to experiment with those things a little bit more as far as like sculpting and stuff. And I was like, wow, I really like this. I should try all these other different mediums. And that's when I decided to give acrylic a try. I tried oil painting. I don't know if that's going to be, that's like, take ages to dry.
Yeah.
A really long time to dry out. So I'm like, maybe I'll wait before I go into that. But it was mostly graphite, and I really enjoy doing graphite, but it's like, maybe I can shift to a different medium, work on that, get better at that while still doing graphite.
Yeah. What's that been like, switching and starting to dabble with color and other mediums? Has that been a challenge, or has that like helped expand your art skills almost?
It's definitely helped to expand my art skills, and I do think it was a little bit of a challenge. In the beginning, whenever I started to switch over, I got really frustrated with like mixing paint and trying to figure out the right color and stuff. And then eventually, one day I was just like, I don't want to focus on being a perfectionist. I just want to paint. And eventually, when I just sat back and just relaxed and just painted, it turned out really nice. And I was like, wow, I don't have to stress over making everything perfect, you know, because it just fall in place if you're just letting the brush do its thing and you're just in your zone.
Yeah. You feel like you used to be more of a perfectionist?
Definitely. I would just look at every single thing and I'm like, this has to be right 100%. But now I'm just more so like, okay, I can try and get this as close to being perfect as possible. But if not, you know, it'll still look good. You know, there's room to make it look better in a next piece. I don't have to spend as much time trying to work on one piece, perfecting it.
Right.
But I still think there's still that little bit of perfectionist in me. It's like,
for sure.
It's like I have to at least have it looking nice, you know.
You feel like that held you back in a way, like trying to have everything be perfect?
I think it did hold me back in a good, like in a bad but also good way. Like whenever I first started this style of like drawing and stuff, I was a perfectionist. I wouldn't have imagined of putting like plants growing out of a head or anything or like a hummingbird. But whenever I started that style, I was able to be more free because it's like, well, this is supposed to be like a weird creature, human, like combination, and it's like there's a little more room for less perfectionist because it's like surrealism, and there's not as much as like, oh, the hand is like really wonky or something.
Yeah.
People could look at it and be like, oh, maybe it's supposed to be like that, you know, because it's like surrealism.
So like almost like the abstract of the plants growing out of her head allows her body to be more free flow.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the time whenever I'm doing like different drawings like this, like with this guy right here, I want to use like a body language that allows like the nature part to kind of flow out and like act as one, but like completely do different things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But, like that's the feel that I was going for whenever I started doing this. It allows me to be a little bit more free and not be as stressed out over perfecting the piece.
Right. So how are you creating these images? Are you going off reference images?
Yeah. So, I think I'm gonna start getting models.
Yeah.
I spend about an hour to 2 hours just looking up different reference images, trying to find that perfect image to see how I wanna make it. Like, and I always have like the body and like the gesture in my head, but I can never find the right picture. So it's like,
or like, how do you even look that up? Like sometimes, like the gesture of the body, you know.
Most of the time, I try whenever I'm looking up my pieces, I try my best to keep it as like organic.
Yeah.
So I look up mostly like new gesture drawings or like things like that to like really just random gestures. Sometimes I just look up random gestures of like humans and stuff to see if I can look at a weird gesture that like inspired me to create another piece with it. So it's kind of random, but it's like planned out. It's like I know what I'm looking for, but if I come across something better, you know, I'll be down for that too. You know?
Yeah, kind of just play it by ear for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, like with your art, you say you're trying to express something now more so as just doing it for fun.
Right.
Is it different within each piece, or is there an overall message, or what exactly are you trying to express?
With each piece, I'm trying to like express like more emotion, more of a feeling. I want people to look at like a piece and like look at it and be like, oh, I'm getting this type of emotion. With this piece, I wanted to go for more like a spring vibe, so I wanted to put the lady in a more peaceful state and have like hummingbirds and flowers blooming out of her hair.
Right.
And I just wanted people to look at it and be at more of like a calm state and like, wow, like it's really nice. I want them to feel nice and like interpret their own thing into it as well.
Yeah. She's also blindfolded though.
Yeah, she's also. It's like simple things like that. I think people like manage to interpret different things whenever they see my piece. Like I put the flower pot at the bottom, but I also wrapped like a towel around her head, as if there was a towel wrapped around like the flowers or so. It didn't really have much meaning behind it. I just thought I should try this out just to add a little bit more texture to the drawing, and it's kind of nice to see what people can like interpret in the drawing.
For sure. Have you like found that with starting to display your art in galleries, like getting totally like random like meanings from other people or like stuff that you didn't see in your pieces?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
One of the pieces that I sold earlier, I have a copy of. Like one person saw like maybe like demonic or something, while the other person they saw like strength. Because mostly, like sometimes people think of like horns as being demonic and stuff, but like in most of my pieces, I put horns inside of a piece more so for like general strength and show like this is a tough character more than just like a demonic character really to swallow you whole, you know?
Yeah. I think like goats ruin the horns. They kind of make it seem satanic.
Yeah.
But it's also like a lot of like bulls and like strong like tough animals have the horns too. So it's definitely mixed meanings to that. Are you, when you start these pieces, is it more so this complete vision or is it more free flow? Like obviously like you start with these nude drawings, these nude figure drawings, but then these other aspects like the flowers coming out of her head and her blindfolds and the butterflies, is this all planned out or is this come about as you're creating the piece?
It's kind of weird. As when I'm feeling these certain emotions, like I'll reflect that into like planning the piece. For example, with this piece right here is called Forgiveness. It was like more so like a rough time going to like spiritually and stuff, and more so it kind of like started fading away from, you know, Christianity, which I grew up on.
Right.
And you know, it was kind of like a hard, depressed time because of COVID and all these other hardships and stuff. So at this point, like I did this piece to like represent, like it's still a strong character, but he's just more so of like surrendering up to a higher being. If that makes a little bit of sense there.
Yeah, and then I see that with him like bowing over, like he's kind of like giving himself up. But then like these colorful butterflies, like why'd you decide to bring like color and?
I brought the color in. This entire like the color was like actually like a little bit of an experiment, but the more that I started to play with, there was a piece that I did before this that I did in color. But this piece, I wanted to like have the butterflies represent like a new beginning. Like the black and white is like in the past, and the butterfly is just like a new beginning of like the body, the mind, and the spirit. Which is why there are 3 butterflies also. So that's really where the butterfly idea came in, and then I kind of started doing a butterfly series, and just really started going with that. So I was really just kind of going with the flow whenever I started these pieces, but I had like a general idea and emotion towards putting it into these pieces.
Okay, for sure. So you're starting to like sell these pieces like pretty often now? That's cool. How has that been like? Does that like change how you like think about creating these pieces or?
I think so. Normally I wouldn't mind like think about the gender of the character or whatnot, but I've noticed like more so like these female characters, they tend to sell way quicker than the male characters.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like made me fall back into drawing more female characters and putting it up into the gallery than drawing male characters and putting them up in the gallery. So it's definitely changed it that way, but as far as like style and stuff, I think I just prefer to keep it the same because people interpret it in such different ways and they really enjoy looking at like something different, you know?
Yeah. Something that like stands out and that they wouldn't see in the real world.
Right.
Because like I feel like it becomes an escape for them, like as much as it is for us creating it, them seeing it, it's their own escape.
Right. They can look at it and be like, wow, this is nice, you know, and they can just sit there and stare at it, you know, escape for a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, and then, you know, back to reality.
Yeah, for sure. So you're not holding on to these pieces anymore, and you said like pictures become this way where you can kind of they're a part of you forever because you have this picture of them.
Right.
As well as I feel like videos are that same idea too.
Right.
You got into like making videos of your art.
Yeah.
So how'd that come about?
That came about. Funny enough, like I used to watch a lot of YouTube. So
What were you watching?
I was watching mostly like different artists' YouTubes and like funny prank videos, like what everyone else would do. And then eventually, I was just sitting in bed once, and I was like, I spend most of my time watching YouTube videos. Why don't I just make my own YouTube videos? And then I began to start to like it. And whenever I did these, it was also like a way of me to be able to connect even more with my piece, because it's like I have a video form of it. Like with one of my drawings, I did the entire thing only using letters. And it's like, it's really just nice to sit back and watch yourself draw like a piece and watch the process as how you did it. So the videos is also there to help entertain and like share my art with the people, but it's also there to like help hold on to a memory forever.
Yeah. And it's a whole different way as from pictures, right? Because like you said, you get to see it back. Because when you're creating, I feel like I get like so absorbed into it, like you almost forget about what happened along the way.
Right.
So it's definitely cool to look back on. So you did a piece, just letters, like A, B, C.
Yeah,
you just going through the
letters.
alphabet, or?
Yeah, it was just completely letters and stuff. I think I actually have it on my phone. I don't have this piece anymore because it's sold.
Yeah.
But like this was the piece that I did.
That's crazy.
Only using letters.
It's cool because looking at it, looking at it from like afar, you wouldn't even be able to tell it's just
like,
letters.
You can get up like really close and you can notice like some of the lettering. So I spelled out tree for every tree that I wrote.
Nice.
I spelled out like heart for every piece of the heart and eye for like the eye in it.
Yeah.
And that specific piece was like representing the time of like me being an artist in the younger days to like growing up into a full tree. So it's like different ways that I express like these hidden messages in it, but it's like also leaving room for other people to interpret what they would like.
Yeah, that's super cool. So, aside from like doing a piece with only lettering, I know like YouTube and kind of social media in general is all about like these like standout moments or like actions. So like YouTube is a lot based around like challenges and doing this like crazy stuff, right? So has that affected your art and like pushed you to do like crazy art, like doing a piece with only lettering?
Oh yeah, I would have never done that if I hadn't started YouTube, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, how can I stand out and do something different? That's when I started that. And I know I did another piece where I drew for 10 hours completely, like 10 hours straight. I would have never done that. I was like, I have to push myself to even more. I did a drawing to where I did like 5 million dots in it, and it was in like.
You were counting?
I had to keep like counts and stuff of like how many, and I was like, okay, I have to make sure this is right. It was a little over like 5 million, but it was there. 5 million looked a little bit better in the title, but it was like. I was like, if I have each sheet, and have a couple of million in here, a couple of million in there, it should all come up to 5 million.
Right.
And I would have never done that if I wouldn't have started YouTube. So I do think it's starting to challenge me and like force me to go into more mediums like different styles like pornalism, or I know in one of my upcoming videos I'm just going to be making an entire piece using crayons.
Nice.
Like it's just challenging me to try these different mediums that I would never try strictly because it's like people are looking for like entertainment, but also something good,
Something that stands out for sure.
Something that stands out, right?
What's been the biggest challenge so far?
During YouTube, or
yeah,
the biggest challenge I would say, just getting started.
Just getting started.
Just getting started. And being consistent as well, because sometimes it's like I don't really want to wake up and start recording or something, but it's like once I start recording, I can get into that mood and just keep on recording, and it's like really entertaining. I love to do it, but it's like sometimes I just want to stay in bed,
Yeah.
But I think the biggest challenge is like the beginning and just staying consistent with it. It's like when I first started, I only had a couple of subscribers, and it's like the more and more that I keep adding on videos, the bigger and bigger the channel begins to grow, and it's like the older videos that I had, they began to catch up on views as the newer ones. So it's like, I think just being consistent and just not giving up whenever, one video doesn't have as many views. I think that's like really important.
For sure.
Just keep pushing through it.
Right. Because like each video becomes an art piece, and you can't become like too attached to one, to your own idea.
Right.
Especially like when you're making it for other people to enjoy. Mm-hmm. So what about like, you're talking about like just getting started with YouTube in general?
Yeah, just in general, and being able to stay consistent.
Just like being uncomfortable with it, or not feeling ready for it, or?
Whenever I first started it, I just didn't really have a mind or goal or anything for like subscribers or views or anything. I just kind of went for it. But the more and more as I continue to go, I was like, okay, I have to start setting these goals. I have to start getting this many views on this many videos, getting this many subscribers a month. And I think that part was a little difficult and challenging because, some months you may not get any subscribers or barely any subscribers as you got last time, or as many views. But like most recently, I figured out, it just can happen out of nowhere. I mean, I woke up one day and I had over 2,000 views on a video that I did, and I had gained over 20 subscribers overnight, and I was like, wow. Wow, it can just change like that in like a heartbeat. You go to sleep, you wake up, and you're just, a lot more people are viewing your videos.
What was the video?
It was actually 10 things that artists hate.
Okay.
It's like more so like a skit thing, but also like some of the other videos, like the 5 million dot challenge or like the 10-hour drawing straight challenge. Those are also getting a pretty decent amount of views as well.
Yeah.
But I think now the most important part is, once I got that goal, it's like sometimes you just want to sit back and celebrate and be like, yeah, I did it, I got this, I finally got up there, But I think it's important to be able to look at it and be like, yay, I got this, what else? Like, can I hit 5,000 views or 10,000 views, or 500 subscribers or over 1K subscribers? It's just not celebrating every little step, but also being able to celebrate it, if that makes sense.
Not over-celebrating.
Not over-celebrating, right. Not thinking I've made it when it's just a step to really getting up there.
For sure. Do you feel like you have to keep outdoing yourself with each video and each project?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I've recorded like 5 videos before I actually put one out, because it's like okay, this last video I just did 5 million dots, but this video I'm just gonna be painting on a laptop. It's just like I have to keep getting bigger and bigger. If not, like, the subscribers may start to fade off because they see this one big video and they're like, okay, I want an even bigger video next. So that's also a challenge, to be able to think of something and be able to get it out and get it to the people quick enough.
Right. How are you coming up with these video ideas?
Mostly inspiration for some other artist, or sometimes I'll just be sitting back and be like, what is something that someone hasn't done? So like with the crayon drawing, I don't think I've really seen any artist, do like maybe a 20+ hour drawing of just using crayons. So that's the idea with that.
You got to get all those like crayon boxes from the restaurant.
Yeah. I just have like a big thing of crayons sitting there.
Nice.
And I'm just waiting to go ahead and start on the piece, but it's like also I have to balance out getting these other pieces into the gallery, so it's like I have to balance out everything.
Right.
And I think that's a little difficult too, because you gotta balance out work, like the gallery, and then the YouTube channel that you're trying to work with. But it gets fairly easy whenever you just like start to flow in it and have like a schedule written down on it.
So you like schedule out all the different things you have to do?
Yeah, I found that to be the easiest for me personally. Like if I don't do that, I get overwhelmed and I just start to stress out a lot, and then eventually don't do anything. So it's like the night before, I'll sit down and I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do, this is what time I need to do it, and this is how long I have to get it done.
You're doing this every night? Every
night. It's just like, it helps keep the flow, and it keeps me motivated to like wake up the next morning and be like, yo, I need to do this.
Right.
So it's like, that's really important. And another stressful thing is like sometimes whenever that schedule gets a little messed up, you know, like with the mural, I think my plan was to finish it in 3 days. But then I realized, I was like, this wall is really big, you know? I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it in 3 days. And I need to take in consideration that the gallery is only open from like 10 to 7.
All right.
So they wouldn't allow me to work overnights in it. So I was like, okay, I need to take that in consideration. So now 3 days have turned into like a week and a half now.
And you start to feel like the pressure, like you're getting behind, or like you're off your schedule almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm behind schedule, but I feel like, you know, there's no rush.
Right.
But I just want to go ahead and get the mural done, you know, get that done, and move on to the next big thing.
Yeah.
Because I've been recording this video for quite some time with the mural and stuff.
Okay.
Still haven't gotten there. I know I have like over 5 hours of footage of like just time lapse and different camera shots, and it's a lot of pressure, you know. And once the editing part comes on, you know, that's probably gonna take another day or two to get ready.
Yeah. So I guess like what's the process? Because you do these art pieces, they take a couple days. You're filming the whole time, and then you have to go through all the footage, edit all the footage, and then like is there a lot? How much goes into all that? Like getting the project ready to like have this video ready for YouTube.
It's funny because it's like most of my videos are no more than 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm working like maybe even a week or two on this project, and people are only seeing 5 minutes of what I've actually done. So what happens is I have to just record, and sometimes as I'm recording, I'll go in and edit, and sometimes I'll just record the entire process, and then I'll go in and edit. So like for the mural, for example, I've just been recording. I haven't tried editing any of the video yet. I've just been recording the entire process for about a week and a half now, and then after I finish it, then I'll go back and edit the entire thing and then upload.
Yeah.
But I have to have each video done like a week in advance before it's being posted, so that I can stay on schedule and I don't have to end up panicking and not having enough time to like post a video.
Yeah. Do you have the idea of like what the video is going to be planned out before you start filming everything, or are you just filming everything along the way?
For most of the time, I try my best to have a plan out. As far as like the entertainment part, I just kind of go with the flow, you know, make like funny skits and stuff that go in the video or something like that. That part isn't planned out, but as far as like the art itself, that's very planned out. And
Okay.
It's like I need to record, like if I'm preparing a paint, I need to record me flicking open bottles of paint and like pouring them down, doing different shots. That part is planned out, but like skits and stuff, that really isn't planned out that much. It's just like an entertainment thing, just to like make it a little bit more funny.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have this similar issue of this, like, it's almost this like fear of getting started, and it stems from a lot of different reasons, but I feel a lot of people feel this pressure from seeing all these other creators who have this perfect content, right?
Right.
Whether it's like their gear or how they edit, and that creates a lot of like anxiety, like from never like putting anything out. So you only film with an iPhone. You don't have any extra gear. Do you have anything to like say for like people who are like unsure of how to start, where to start, feel like they're like behind, or like don't have the right stuff to make what they want to make?
I say just go for it, you know, just use what you have.
Yeah.
Like I only had an iPhone, you know, because at the time, you know, when I started my YouTube channel, I couldn't afford a camera.
Yeah.
I can now, but I just think being able to record using my phone, you know, just kind of like settles me back and be like, yo, you know, you still have a good ways to go, you know. So it's like my goal is once I get monetized to just start using that money to just keep putting it back in the channel, and then started getting gear and stuff like that. But I think it's very important to just like not get like frustrated and not start because of some of the things you don't have. Mr. Beast, one of the biggest YouTubers, he started recording with his iPhone 5, and it took him 7 years before he even hit 1K subscribers, and now he has like over 50 million subscribers. So it's like, as long as you get out there and start, I think in the end you would be rewarded for it if you just keep going on through it. And I think that's really important to not really just look at other people, but more so focus on yourself. Like, what do I have now that I can put out? And at that time I only had an iPhone to record with, so I was like, okay, I'll just use this and I'll still be able to make entertaining content. And I've been able to do that. It's just like really fun, and it's also fun because it's like challenging as well. But it's also a little frustrating sometimes when you have to record, take it down, and go record at a different angle than just being able to have 5 different cameras set up and just recording differently. Hopefully I'll get there one day, and be able to like a photo photography team, they just record, do all the recording, have an editing team. That's the goal eventually, but now I think it's just really fun because it's like, it's more personal.
Right.
It's like I'm being able to connect with my video more personal, and I'm going to work harder to keep this going because, I just have these things.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it also, like, you learn so much from it, whereas, like, if you had all that now, you wouldn't understand everything that goes into the creation of the videos, and being at the beginning with nothing almost, it allows you to really like understand the full process and the full potential of when you do have everything. Right.
It makes you work a lot harder. And it's like, okay, I don't have that much now, but I'm gonna work really hard with what I have, and once I get those things, I'll be able to sit back and be like, wow, I've really done it. Used to be on an iPhone, and now I have like all these $1,000 cameras recording me. It's like it's I think it's really important. I think I would definitely prefer any time to start off with barely anything and be able to work out from that than just be giving like everything to start it off with. I think it just allows me to work a little bit harder. So I think that's like really important to just be able to work with whatever you have.
Yeah, that's super cool. And like kind of like just make a way around all of it. Like, how are you like just propping your iPhone up, or do you have like a stand for it, or?
I did buy some tripods to like, put up and stuff. I have 2 different tripods. I have like a big one, and then I have like a tiny one.
Yeah.
And I just record using those 2 ones, and it's like I set up and figure out different angles to put it up with. Get these. You can get a lot of creative shots, like only using the iPhone and like 2 tripods. It's like really interesting. Like my latest video when I was customizing a paint palette, I was able to get like a lot of creative angles just using my iPhone. And I think it's also important whenever you just have those things, it forces you to be a little bit more educated on those things, because before when I started recording I wasn't educated on like different recordings, how I should record it, the different lighting and stuff. I just did it. But now it's like I know all that stuff, and I can get this good lighting, this good recording, good angles only using the iPhone. So it's only going to get better once I actually get it like an actual camera.
Right, for sure. That'll be super cool to see. And like the cool thing about YouTube is it almost like is this journal where you can go back and look back on all your own work and see. It'll become like your 5-year-old journal almost in a way.
Right. And that's like really exciting. And sometimes it's just like I can look back and I can have tears of joy and be like, wow, I made it.
Yeah.
I used to start from here recording on my iPhone, and now I'm doing this,
Right. So what are your goals right now with art and with YouTube?
I think right now, normally I used to have like numbers of goals. I need to hit 1K subscribers by the end of the year, but now I've managed to shift that, and it's like I need to create maybe 4 really good videos each week.
Yeah.
And that helps me focus on like, okay, I need to focus on the quality of the videos and just mainly focusing on the subscribers. And whenever I learned that I just focused on making the best video and just getting it uploaded, then I really noticed that people started to view it a little bit more because I took my mind off of just like, I need to get 100 subscribers this month, you know?
Right.
So that's like really, I think that's a really nice part for us, like that goal. So don't really have any number goals. I like for us, like getting subscribers, just like I have a goal to get 4 videos out each month, you know, a video a week. If not, at least get out 2 big videos each month. You know, I set goals like that, something that I can control, you know. It's like I can't control getting 100 subscribers a month. You know, I can just put up the video, make it the best, and then other people are in control if they want to subscribe.
Yeah.
So it's like I try my best not to stress over too many things that I'm not in control of. And I think that's really been able to help me out through this journey, because in the beginning I was stressed out over subscribers, but now it's like I don't really stress over it. It's like I can't really control that. I can just keep putting up good content and just wait for people to subscribe.
That's cool. How do you judge the quality of your work?
By watching, like, I know I don't, like, shouldn't do this, but, like, it's, like, a big help. Being able to look at bigger YouTubers and see what makes their videos entertaining.
Okay.
Being able to research things and, like, what makes a movie entertaining. I realized that, like, my screen, like, if I'm doing, like, a big, like, painting or something, or time-lapse or something, I should be constantly changing the screen like every 10 seconds, whether it's zooming in or zooming out or slowly zooming in and zooming out. It just helps keep like the normal average person, you know, entertained instead of just watching like the screen stay still. And I think that's really important. And I kind of started throwing in these creative angles because I also keep people more entertained. Throwing in the skits and stuff, like funny little skits and making jokes. Like things like that to slowly keep people entertained. So that's mainly how I judge my piece, like my different videos. It's like, okay, I did this in the last video, what can I do in this one to make it more entertaining?
Yeah, constantly progressing, pushing yourself, for sure. That's cool. So I got one more question for you. Before I ask my last question, where can people see your artwork? Where can they check you out? Which on YouTube?
Yeah, so currently right now I have YouTube, Instagram, and then I have an Etsy shop which I'm working on. I haven't made any sales with that yet, but I'm going to try and promote that a little bit more. I haven't been promoting it as much. I have a TikTok that I have, but I kind of got off of TikTok, mainly because I spent like over half of the day scrolling through it. So I was like, okay, if I want to post something, I'll just re-download it, post it, and then delete it again. So it's like, because if the app is still there, I just keep scrolling for days. So it's like I have to have that little bit of discipline, just know to remove this so I can focus on more important things. So it's pretty much YouTube, Instagram, my Etsy shop, TikTok, and then, you know, the gallery, some physical places as well.
Denver Art Society.
Denver Art Society.
Okay. And that's Mike Creates on YouTube?
Yeah, Mike Creates.
Cool. So, Mike, what does art mean to you?
I think that's a very interesting question. I've gotten that question a lot. I think art means to me, and like what art is to me, is being able to take things that aren't real and being able to transform it and put it on the paper in the way that you think. Like, none of these pieces you'll probably see walking around in the forest, but I think what makes it art is like being able to look at it and be like, oh, that's nice, you know, you normally wouldn't see that just sitting on a desk, you know, if that makes sense.
Thanks for listening. Share this with your friends if you liked it. And don't forget to be cool. Peace out.
Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Andreas next time, we out.